So, finally this week, it'll get a little tougher before it gets a lot easier. We're looking at half angle formulas first. So, what we need to do is check out the actual formula. It's in a sheet that I attached to the Google Classroom, so you may have some fortune with that. It's actually this exact thing in the bottom left corner. So, under examples, sine of 1/2 of y is going to be the square root of 1 minus cosine y divided by 2. And there are a handful of ways to look at this. What we're going to do with this problem. Oh, let's actually check another one because this is the sine half angle. Here's tangent, here's cosine. This one is the square root of 1 plus cosine x over 2. So that means we are going to need the square root of 1 plus 4/5 divided by 2. So square root of 5/5 plus 4/5 divided by 2. And hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. So radical 9/5 over 2. How are we going to make that simpler? That's actually just going to be, we can reduce that to, instead of radical 9/5, have the square root of 1/5 times 3. And the square root of 1/5 is the same as 1 divided by the square root of 5. Lastly, let's just rationalize this by multiplying by numerator and denominator by radical 5. So 2 times 5 down here, giving us 10. I appear to have made a mistake of some kind. What exactly does it have here? Radical of 1 plus cosine, all divided by 2. Oh, my mistake. The 2 is actually under the radical. It's been a while since I've actually done this kind of problem, so I'm kind of learning this along with you. So instead of having 3 root 5 over 10, you would have square root of 9 over 10, which is going to be the same as square root of 9 divided by square root of 10, which is going to in turn be the same as 3 over radical 10. And then we can do 3 root 10 over 10. Yeah, it takes a little getting used to, but we just rationalize it. It's pretty straightforward. It's literally the same problem. 3 root 10 over 10. Give us the same problem twice. This one, again, same deal, is going to be square root of 1 plus 1/10 all divided by 2. So that's just going to become 11/10 over 2, which is the same thing as 11 over 20. So let's actually split that up, equals root 11 over root 20 equals root 11 over root 4 times root 5, which is root 11 over 2 root 5, which finally is root 11 times 5 over 2 times 5, which is radical 55 divided by 10. And I gave the correct answer as if we were doing cosine of 1/2 of y. This shows that I need to read the problems a little more carefully. It's asking for sine of 1/2 y. So that formula is going to be subtracting the cosine instead of adding it. So that's actually, instead of being 11 over 10, it'll be 9 over 10 all over 2, and then square root that. So radical of 9 over 20. That one becomes sorry, 3 over 2 root 5, which then is 3 root 5 over 10. And that's what we actually were supposed to do instead of radical 55 because I did the wrong thing. One more, and then I will show you a last thing, and we're going to be golden. So cosine again, root of 1 plus 2/3 over 2. So 1 plus 2/3, we can simplify that to 5/3. And then 5/3 over 2 is just 5 over 3 times 2, so 5 over 6. And that's actually, unless I did something wrong, which is very possible, going to be root 5 over root 6. So root 30 divided by 6. We were right. So that's going to be what they're chucking at you over and over. Let me make sure and see if they ever show you half angles on tangents. They do. And that's going to be root of 1 minus cosine over 1 plus cosine. So I'm going to try one more problem to see if they'll show us that. Oh, that is this. So it's the square root of 1 minus 1/2 divided by 1 plus 1/2 equals square root of 1/2 over 3/2. Which, if we finally do one last step of reducing it, we'll cancel the 2's to get square root of 1/3, which is just going to be root 3 over 3. And then finally, let's look at reciprocal trig identities. So that's just going to represent tangent is equal to sine over cosine. So tangent over sine equals sine over cosine. I seem to have done something odd. May already be ahead of me on this, but sine over sine equals 1 over cosine equals secant. We'll throw in the theta. Perfect. Secant over cosecant is 1 over cosine divided by 1 over sine equals sine over cosine, and that is tangent theta. So you basically just do it. Secant squared times cosine squared. 1 cosine squared times cosine squared equals 1. They just cancel. And then, yeah, like 1 over sine times cosine. So cotangent. And I forgot to put in theta. Point is, though, these are pretty forgiving and straightforward. You shouldn't have much trouble with these. So have a fantastic day chewing on all the stuff I gave you this week. And let me know when you have questions.